Mental models guide the way you view the world and behave. As I go over these, you're probably going to recognize a few things that I mentioned and not have realized that they are mental models. Think of them like thinking tools that you can use to understand your life, make decisions, and solve problems. The reason why mental models are so powerful is because we are only able to think from our perspective. Mental models allows us to step back, see a problem as what it is, and apply tools to them. Now, as a CEO of a company, I have problems coming at me all the time. I'm always making decisions that will affect both my life, my employees' lives, the company, and so I want to make sure that I am using every single tool available in order to make the right decision. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 mental models that I live by, and hopefully just one of them will help you see the world from a different perspective. Number 1 is inversion. So thinking about a problem from the opposite way. Instead of saying, what 5 things could I do to be more productive today? You could ask, what are the 5 things that I could do to be unproductive today? So what might that be? Being on your phone, maybe it's getting stuck in your email. Whatever those 5 things are, you're gonna be able to better recognize them when they show up. So just by inverting the problem and looking at it from the opposite way, you often see things that you might not otherwise have noticed. Number 2, Hanlons Razor. So never attribute to malice what could be explained by carelessness. So maybe you sent an email and it's been 3 days since you heard back, and your brain starts making up stories about this person hating you or you did something wrong, and you're just creating all of this trouble in your mind. Hanlons Razor just asks us to be realistic and to assume that the person is busy. How many emails are sitting in your inbox that are unresponded to, but not because of some big battle you have with this person, but because you haven't got around to it. So don't assume or think the worst of something when really it could just be something careless. One of our core values at Best Self is assume positive intent. That's with customers, with each other, and it's much easier to assume that everyone's doing the best with what they have than automatically your brain going to the worst possible conclusion, because 1 in 100 times that might be true, but generally it's not. Number 3, law of diminishing returns. So beyond a certain point, the rate of profit, production, or benefit fails to increase with added investment, effort, or skill. So when we're working on a new product or work at Best Self, we may find ourselves over editing, or maybe we're trying to tweak a product constantly instead of shipping, and this may lead to diminishing or even negative returns. And this is true even for our personal lives. For instance, maybe you're writing a blog post and instead of actually publishing it, you keep editing it and you never actually ship it. So there's a law of diminishing returns there. It's not going to get better the more and more you edit it. You have to release it, or maybe it's a piece of work or design or painting that you keep working on. And again, there's a point which you are not going to make it any better and you're just wasting time, effort, and energy. Number 4 is a big one. It is opportunity costs. Every choice comes at the cost of another. So if you decide to watch that true crime Netflix show instead of writing that blog post, that is a choice. And maybe it's deciding where to invest your money, because once it's invested, you may lose out on other opportunities. You need to keep this in mind when deciding where you're going to be focused. Time spent on one project means time not spent on another one. And oftentimes people don't think of opportunity cost as what it is, which is a true cost of something that you're not going to do because you're trading it in exchange for something else. Number 5 is reciprocity. So we feel a sense of obligation to return favors to people who have done something for us. And this rule not only works with people you know, but also with strangers. Before attempting to sell something, a salesperson might give you a small gift or maybe a free sample. And even if this gift is unwanted or unasked for, receiving it can still trigger a need to repay the gift, usually in the form of purchasing whatever is being sold. So they're much more likely to close the sale if they give you something in advance. Now, this could be happening to you if you're talking to a salesperson, but it's also something that you can be using for your own benefit. And it's something that I talked about in my video on networking for introverts. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out, because this is a huge reason or method that I've used to build my personal network. Number 6, last but very important one, is sunk cost bias. The sunk cost bias describes our inabilities to stop doing something after investing time, money, or effort into it. This limits our ability to see its worth in present terms and potentially misallocate resources on it. In other words, we're not cutting our losses. A big way this shown up in my life is my decision to leave the architecture industry. This was after spending 6 years at school, 2 years in the industry, had a bunch of letters after my name, and I thought, this isn't really for me. And so many people thought, you've already put this much time into it, why not keep going? But that would have been me trying to get back that time because I'd already spent it. That time is gone, I'm not getting it back. And so it's important that you understand that so you can move on to something else. And Best Self wouldn't exist if I had have stayed in that architecture job, and I probably wouldn't have been happy. Definitely wouldn't have, definitely. Now, maybe you're not wanting to make a big life decision right now, but if you're watching a shitty movie and it's halfway done, you hate all the characters and you don't know why you're still watching, stop watching it and go do something else or turn on something better. A great book on this is The Dip by Seth Godin, where he talks about when to know when to quit something versus when to know when to stick with something. If you're looking for more resources on mental models, and there's way more than I talked about in this video today, you can look at Great Mental Models, a book, or a book called Super Thinking, and I'll share the links to those books in the description. I hope you learned something new in this video, and hopefully these mental models show you a new perspective in life and turn you into a super thinker. In the comments below, let me know which mental models you live by. I can't wait to read them. If you've learned from these mental models and now you're gonna make better decisions in your life, first one can be subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.